Cole, you're scaring me.
They scare me too sometimes. I see dead people. She died. I see people. They don't know they're dead.
The moment it hit theatres, The Sixth Sense, 1999, wasn't just a movie. It was a tsunami that swallowed the global box office, leaving aftershocks as audiences sat frozen in their seats when the screen went black, stunned by one of the most shocking twists cinema has ever seen. The chilling line, "I see dead people," escaped like a curse, seeping through decades, haunting our collective memory like a ghost that never leaves. But behind that twist that stunned the world lies a labyrinth of secrets few have ever known.
Suốt
Who
cả
could
bộ
have
phim
guessed
chỉ là
that the
hồn ma của
iconic
nhân vật này,
line was
các bạn
almost
có
cut
ai
from the
đã từng trải
script, or that Bruce Willis forced himself to switch hands, writing
yếu tố siêu nhiên
right-handed
kinh
just
dị
to
của Mỹ
conceal
năm
the truth?
1999?
In this video, we're tearing open 20 dark secrets, eerie truths, and spine-tingling mysteries buried inside The Sixth Sense. Don't miss this, because once you step in, you'll never look at this masterpiece the same way again. Number 20. Bruce Willis had to learn to write right-handed to protect the secret Bruce Willis is naturally left-handed. But stepping into The Sixth Sense, he had to betray his lifelong instinct. Throughout production, Willis painstakingly practiced writing and drawing with his right hand, not for style, but for survival. Because Malcolm Crowe wasn't wearing his wedding ring, if audiences noticed too soon, the greatest twist in film history would have collapsed instantly. A scene that seemed harmless, Malcolm's hand scratching across a page, was actually a minefield. Had Willis written with his left, the camera would have exposed the bare ring finger. No band, no sign of a living husband. In that instant, Shyamalan's intricate psychological trap would have evaporated into smoke. And then came the finale. When Anna's ring slips from her hand, Malcolm stares at his own, a hand that had been ringless the entire film. The revelation detonates, the twist erupts, and history is written. All because of one ruthless trick, forcing a Hollywood star to switch hands to hide a devastating truth. Number 19. Toni Collette was nearly bald during filming. Few know that when Toni Collette auditioned for Lynn, Cole's fragile, exhausted mother, she nearly eliminated herself from the role. Why? She had just wrapped a film that required her to shave her head. By the time she met Shyamalan, her hair hadn't grown back. She walked into the audition with a patchy, nearly bald scalp. Shyamalan saw the fire in her performance, but also felt terror. If Disney execs saw that tape, they would cut her instantly, based on appearance alone. So the young director made a bold, reckless decision. He hid the entire audition tape. Instead, he distracted the studio, talking up Muriel's Wedding, the film that had made him admire Collette in the first place. With Bruce Willis, the project's biggest star, stepping in to back her, Shyamalan pulled off the impossible. Disney agreed without ever seeing a second of her audition, a stunning behind-the-scenes coup. As for Colette's hair in the movie, a wig. But here's the kicker, the production couldn't even afford a new one. The wig she wore in The Sixth Sense was borrowed from Velvet Goldmine, 1998. Years later, Shyamalan admitted, "We weren't just hiding the film's secrets, besides, we were hiding Tony's bald head. And because of that, we captured a performance that left the world breathless." Number 18. Malcolm Crowe's apartment never existed. In The Sixth Sense, the apartment of Malcolm Crowe and his wife Anna wasn't real. It was built from scratch inside an abandoned warehouse in Philadelphia. Under production designer Larry Fulton, the empty shell became a home, warm yet suffocating. A mirror of Malcolm's isolation and fractured marriage. The most haunting touch? The empty chair across from the dinner table, always there when Malcolm talks to Anna. A silent wound, a space that can never be filled. Cool, muted tones clashed with splashes of ominous red. The flipped-down wedding photo, the dim glow of a lamp, each detail whispering of a deathly absence the audience had yet to realise. Even Bruce Willis added his own touch. An antique clock on Malcolm's desk, symbolizing frozen time, a soul trapped between life and death. The set may have been fake, but it pulsed with such eerie authenticity that audiences believed it was real, just like Malcolm himself. What do you think about this? Drop your thoughts below, but don't go anywhere yet, because the next fact is even darker. Number 17. The hospital scene that was cut. One of the Sixth Sense's most terrifying moments never made it to the screen. Haley Joel Osment once revealed on Reddit that Shyamalan originally filmed a horrifying hospital sequence where Cole wandered through endless pitch-black corridors swarming with mutilated, deformed spirits. These weren't just spectres, they reached out for him, desperate to drag the boy into their world. According to Osment, the set was designed like an abandoned hospital, cold, rotting, suffocating. Limbless ghosts, bleeding figures, bodies with gaping wounds crowded the hall. Imagine walking through that corridor, each door swinging open to reveal silent, broken forms staring straight at you. This wasn't psychological fear anymore, it was pure nightmare. But Shyamalan cut it himself. Osment admitted, "If that scene had stayed, The Sixth Sense would have been a different movie. Instead of subtle dread, it would have been filled with horror imagery." Knight knew the imagination of the audience is scarier than anything you can show. Number 16. I See Dead People. Almost ruined the film. I see dead people. A line that seems harmless, but it nearly became a double-edged sword, exposing the darkest secret of The Sixth Sense. When Haley Joel Osment whispered that haunting phrase, the theatre collectively stopped breathing. It quickly became an iconic line, repeated, parodied, and echoed for decades. But few know that during the very first test screenings, this line nearly sent producers into a panic. Veteran producer Frank Marshall was deeply worried. He feared that the slow zoom on Cole's face immediately after the line would all but scream to the audience, "Malcolm is one of the ghosts." To Marshall, it was like a giant neon sign pointing straight to the twist, threatening to unravel Shyamalan's entire plan. He even suggested cutting the scene altogether, or at least shortening it to hide the clue. But Shyamalan refused. He trusted his vision completely and insisted on keeping every lingering second of the shot. And in a breathtaking turn, audiences in test screenings didn't notice a thing. They were too consumed by the razor-sharp tension to connect the dots. The film dodged disaster, and the twist was preserved by sheer audacity. Had that scene been cut, cinema would have lost one of its most iconic moments. Shyamalan's gamble to keep the line "I see dead people" turned it into a thunderbolt across the screen, chilling, unforgettable, yet still hiding the secret until the final moment. A rare miracle. The truth was whispered right in front of the audience, and nobody realised they had just heard the protagonist's death sentence. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts below. And now, prepare for a shocking secret about Lynn, Cole's mother. Number 15. The film was born from a prayer ceremony. In a 2015 interview with Creative Screenwriting, writer-director M. Night Shyamalan revealed that the seeds of the film were planted during a personal experience at a prayer ceremony. "I saw a memorial service at a house. The food was gone, people in dark clothes were wandering around, and this little boy was sitting on the staircase talking to someone who wasn't there." Shyamalan recalled, "It was fascinating to wonder how that boy felt, who he was, and maybe he was talking to the very person everyone else was grieving. And people just looked at him like, 'Oh, this kid is strange, he can't handle this,' and walked away." That moment eventually evolved into a scene in the film, the funeral of Kyra Collins, played by a young Misha Barton. Think that's surprising? Wait until you see the next secrets of The Sixth Sense. Number 14. Disney fired the president who bought the script. Few people know that Disney actually disposed of its own studio chief because of The Sixth Sense. David Vogel, then president of Walt Disney Studios, read the script and instantly believed it was a rare gem. Without waiting for approval from higher-ups, he boldly spent $2.25 million to secure the rights. with the condition that a then unknown director, M. Night Shyamalan, would direct. It was a daring gamble, but also a fatal one. Disney didn't forgive him. When executives discovered Vogel had acted alone, they were furious, demanding control of the deal. Vogel refused. The price? Within weeks, he was fired. The man who bet on a masterpiece was crushed by the very system he worked for. Ironically, The Sixth Sense went on to gross over $672 million worldwide. Before that, Disney had so little faith in the project that they sold production rights to Spyglass Entertainment while keeping only distribution rights, earning just 12.5% of box office revenue. Number 13. The soundtrack nearly spoiled everything. This one is bizarre, and it could have ruined everything. Imagine walking into a music store in 1999, eager to grab the Sixth Sense soundtrack even before watching the film. You pick up the CD, flip it over, and there it is. A track titled "Malcolm is Dead." Yes, it's real. While the filmmakers took extreme care to protect the final twist, the soundtrack tracklist slipped through. James Newton Howard's score included a final piece literally called "Malcolm is Dead." Although the soundtrack wasn't released until weeks after the film's debut, anyone browsing CDs before hitting the theatre risked having the entire film spoiled on the back cover. Number 12. Sarah Michelle Gellar's husband was angry for 15 years over a spoiler actress. Sarah Michelle Gellar had a painfully ironic experience. While watching The Sixth Sense with her husband Freddie Prinze Jr., just 20 minutes into the movie, she casually blurted out a comment that completely shattered the legendary twist. One careless remark, and Shyamalan's carefully hidden secret unraveled instantly. Freddie was furious. He refused to continue watching and, even worse, refused to sit through another movie with his wife for 15 years. The ultimate irony? When Sarah shared the story on The Graham Norton Show, Shyamalan himself laughed and admitted he was absolutely right. Remember, The Sixth Sense lives and dies by its twist. That bone-chilling realization at the end, that's the soul of the film. Freddie never got to experience it because his own wife accidentally stole it away. Number 11. Haley Joel Osment's legendary audition at age 11. At an age when most kids were still fumbling through lines, Haley Joel Osment delivered a performance that stunned an entire room. During his audition for The Sixth Sense, the 11-year-old walked in wearing a neatly tied tie, carrying himself like a little gentleman. From the moment he sat down, the air grew heavy. Osment asked for 30 seconds of silence, a pause so intense it left the room breathless. Then he turned to the wall, let tears fall naturally down his cheeks, and delivered his monologue. No theatrics, no exaggeration, just raw, piercing honesty. The terror of a child laced with an unnatural strength far beyond his years. The room was spellbound. Casting director Ike Kaufman admitted he felt an overwhelming urge to protect the boy, while Shyamalan had to fight back tears. When the audition ended, the decision was immediate. The nationwide search for Cole ended on the spot. No other child could match the emotional depth Osment had unleashed in just minutes. He needed no special effects, no props, only pure sincerity, fragile yet powerful enough to carry the weight of an entire film. Shyamalan was so impressed that he later kept the very tie Osment wore that day, framing it in his office as a treasured relic. And believe it or not, this isn't even the strangest story from behind the scenes of The Sixth Sense. Number 10. Clues hidden in Malcolm's closet. One of the darkest secrets of The Sixth Sense hides in the wardrobe. If you look closely, Malcolm Crowe almost never changes clothes. The blue shirt, the maroon sweater, the brown coat, all eerily identical to what he wore on the fateful night he was shot. This wasn't laziness on the part of the costume department, but a deadly clue Shyamalan deliberately planted. Malcolm is dead, and the dead don't change clothes. He's trapped in the final moment of his life, replaying that same outfit like a curse. But Shyamalan never made the clue obvious. Sometimes Malcolm has the coat, sometimes not. Occasionally, the sweater is missing. Tiny variations distract the audience, making them believe he's alive and going about his daily routine. In truth, it's nothing but the repetitive echo of a ghost who hasn't realized he's dead. The wardrobe is more than clothing. It's a vivid metaphor for a soul in limbo, stuck, unable to move forward, unable to change. Ghosts in the film are often described the same way, wandering, repeating old habits, unaware the world has already passed them by. And Malcolm, with his unchanging outfit, is proof of that invisible imprisonment. The fascinating part? The clue was right there in front of the audience for 2 whole hours, and almost nobody noticed. Only when the twist detonated did all the pieces fall into place. Did you catch it? Share your thoughts below. Now, let's move on to another eerie secret. Number 9. Red is a hidden language. In The Sixth Sense, fear doesn't only come from the ghosts lurking in the shadows, it also comes from a colour. Director M. Night Shyamalan and cinematographer Tak Fujimoto created a secret cinematic code, red. Not the everyday red of clothing or decor, but a sinister, haunting shade. Every time it appears, it signals the intrusion of the supernatural, or an emotional storm about to erupt. Think back, the blood-red doorknob Malcolm struggles to open, the lonely red balloon drifting in the room, or the fiery wax statue of a saint clutched by Cole. None of these were random props. They were like Morse code in colour, tapping out a warning to the audience that just beneath the surface, another world was clawing its way in. They were landmarks, guiding the viewer without them even realising it. But achieving the effect wasn't easy. The crew tested over 15 different shades before landing on the perfect red, bold enough to pierce the icy blue-grey palette that blankets the film, but subtle enough not to shatter the atmosphere. The result? Whenever red appeared, it stabbed straight into the viewer's eyes. Yet no one could quite explain why it made them feel so uneasy. That's Shyamalan's genius. With nothing but a colour, he tapped into primal, subconscious fear. This code turned The Sixth Sense into a sophisticated supernatural experience, where even colours became ghosts that haunted your mind, far longer than any cheap jump scare ever could. Number 8. Donnie Wahlberg. Lost 43 pounds for the role, Donnie Wahlberg appears in The Sixth Sense for barely 10 minutes. But to transform into Vincent, the tormented former patient haunting Malcolm, he pushed his body into a state of extreme metamorphosis. It wasn't just acting. Wahlberg decided to live his character's pain. Over 5 weeks, he shed a staggering 43 pounds, reducing himself to a skeletal, haunting figure. Wahlberg recalled how Shyamalan warned him, "This scene has to be the opening punch. It has to shock the audience." The pressure was immense, but Wahlberg didn't see it as a burden. He saw it as a vow. If I were in that room, facing Bruce Willis and Olivia Williams, and my body hadn't truly suffered, how could I possibly carry the weight of Vincent's soul, he confessed. To embody Vincent's despair, Wahlberg temporarily turned his life into hell. He crashed at a friend's apartment in New York, cut up his credit cards, carried no money, and lived in poverty. Some days he starved on, surviving only on vegetables and chewing gum. When he moved to Philadelphia, he even slept in parks to let his body soak in the cold, emptiness, and desperation. The result on screen? Vincent appeared like an open wound, trembling, broken, unforgettable. From his first moment on screen, the audience was pulled into his tragedy. Not only did they believe Vincent, they felt the madness and pain bleeding from Wahlberg's very body. Just 10 minutes, but enough to etch his performance into film history, proving how extreme sacrifice can turn a supporting role into legend. Number 7. Haley Joel Osment's father. Made Willis yell at him. There was a scene in The Sixth Sense that required Cole to cry, but Haley Joel Osment simply couldn't shed a tear. Time dragged on, tension on set grew suffocating, and silence hung in the air. Then Haley's father, Eugene Osment, quietly approached Bruce Willis and whispered a suggestion. He wanted Willis to shout the line at his son, off camera, raw and furious. Willis agreed. Seconds later, he turned on Haley and unleashed a roar that cracked through the set like thunder. Haley flinched, eyes wide, and tears spilled uncontrollably. The cameras captured the moment, real, painful, and impossible to replicate a second time. Number 6. Toni Collette wasn't happy about landing the role of Lynn Sear. In an April 2023 interview, Toni Collette revealed her surprising reaction when she was cast. After her breakout in Muriel's Wedding, 1994, she was juggling two very different projects: The Sixth Sense and Bringing Out the Dead, directed by none other than Martin Scorsese. Naturally, she had her hopes pinned on Scorsese. Instead, she got the part in Shyamalan's film, at the time, directed by an unknown. My agent said, No, wait, you didn't hear me. You've been offered The Sixth Sense. And I was like, ugh, she recalled with a laugh. Luckily, she took the role. After all, she went on to become one of the very few actresses ever nominated for an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actress in a horror film, a nearly unheard of feat in the genre. Number 5. Bruce Willis was completely fooled. One of the biggest secrets of The Sixth Sense wasn't just hidden from the audience, it was hidden from the film's biggest star, Bruce Willis. To ensure the twist never leaked, Willis received a script missing exactly the last 10 pages. The real ending was locked away in a password-protected digital file, like a sealed treasure chest, accessible only to a handful of crew members. Shyamalan and the producers ran the production like a top-secret operation, leaving no room for leaks. Not only that, but even crucial details like the wedding ring or the hospital monitor were kept under absolute secrecy. During dubbing sessions, the filmmakers went so far as to make Willis record fake dialogue lines just to mislead the sound engineers. No one, not even the lead actor, had the chance to piece the puzzle together. And when the legendary twist exploded on screen at the first screening, Bruce Willis sat there, stunned, as shocked as the audience in the theatre. Willis later admitted that the scene where his wife drops the wedding ring, exposing Malcolm's grim truth, was just as much of a revelation to him. That reaction wasn't acting at all. It was the genuine shock of an actor who had been completely manipulated by the director's psychological game. But instead of being disoriented, Willis transformed his ignorance into strength. He played Malcolm as a man drifting in sorrow, lost in life, and even trained himself to write with his right hand so that the missing wedding ring wouldn't be noticed. Number 4. How they captured Cole's breath. You might think one of the creepiest effects in The Sixth Sense was a clever bit of digital trickery. But the truth is far colder. It was real. Every time Cole saw the dead, his breath turned to mist, as if he had been thrown into a freezing chamber. And instead of relying on CGI, Shyamalan chose a far more merciless approach. He turned the set into a living freezer. According to Haley Joel Osment, the crew covered the ceiling with giant sheets of plastic and pumped in freezing air until the temperature dropped below zero. Shooting time was short. The whole crew was shivering uncontrollably, while Osment, often dressed in little more than underwear, had no need to act the trembling. It was real, visible in every breath, every shudder. On his face, you can see life itself being squeezed by the cold, with fear pouring out raw and unfiltered. Shyamalan explained, "Back then, CGI couldn't fake breath realistically. I wanted the audience to feel the cold cutting into skin. Even today, with more advanced technology, I'd still choose this method, because it gives both the actors and the viewers an authenticity nothing else can replace." What do you think about this chilling fact? Share your thoughts below. Now, let's move on to something just as strange. Number 3. Everyone was a little scared on set. Most of the film's interior scenes were shot inside an abandoned convention center in Philadelphia. By the time production began, the building had long been closed, making it a perfect location with its echoing corridors and old architecture that gave the movie a haunting, almost claustrophobic atmosphere. Osment admitted the vast, empty building reminded him of The Shining. His co-star Misha Barton, who played the ghost Kira Collins, went even further. "I was pretty sure that place was haunted. Like really haunted. Other crew members reported strange feelings and unexplained noises during late-night shoots. The line between fiction and reality blurred, and fear wasn't confined to the script alone." Number 2. Bruce Willis starred in The Sixth Sense because of a deal with Disney. A few years before The Sixth Sense was released, Bruce Willis had been cast as the lead in another Disney project, the Broadway brawler. But production quickly spiraled into disaster. Willis wasn't just the star, he was also a producer, meaning he had decision-making power. Less than 3 weeks into filming, he fired most of the crew, including the director. Disney executives were furious. The chaos forced the studio to completely shut down the movie, losing a staggering $17.5 million. Naturally, Willis wasn't going to walk away unscathed. To make amends, he signed a 3-film deal with Disney, with part of his salary offsetting the Broadway brawler losses. Essentially, Bruce had to star in 3 films as part of the settlement. The first was Armageddon. The second was The Sixth Sense. The third was The Kid. Through The Sixth Sense alone, he earned $10 million, and with the success of all 3 films, his career not only recovered but soared to new heights. Number 1. Toni Collette experienced real-life strangeness. During filming in Philadelphia, Toni Collette, who played Lynn, Cole's mother, was overwhelmed by a few moments she still can't explain. According to the actress, strange things started happening while she was staying in her hotel. She meditated often, but at night she would toss and turn, then check the clock, and every time it was a repeating number: 111, 333, 444. At first, she brushed it off, but as it kept happening, it began to unsettle her deeply. Collette never claimed she saw a ghost, but she admitted the eerie repetition of those nights felt strangely specific, almost deliberate. 20. Bizarre facts about The Sixth Sense don't just reveal the hidden machinery behind a cinematic masterpiece, they show how obsessively Shyamalan wove every detail into the film. Together, they create a chilling yet mesmerizing mosaic where every piece contributes to one of the greatest twists in movie history. So which of these 20 truths shocked you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to keep uncovering shocking cinematic secrets, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Before you go, check out the other videos on screen. You'll find mysteries even more jaw-dropping waiting for you.